Alright everyone, here we are at the combined mode, or giant mode is what they call it in the instruction manual, for the Iron Factory Spirits of the D.E.C. This is their combined Tarn looking thing. So I have already done a video of all these individually. I think I've shown how all of them get into their combiner parts, but now I'm actually going to show all the parts combining. So let's go ahead and just get started. Let's start from the ground up. Let's start with the feet. The feet have multiple components. Here are the parts that come with Alcade, mostly Alcade. So this is part of his backpack. This is one of his legs and shoulders. This part is going to go right into a square port inside the front of the toe. It's hard to actually get into, so just be careful here so you don't like scratch anything. But just push that in like so. Then one of Alcade's arms is going to, you want to open this piece up just a little bit. And what you're going to be doing is sliding this in to this rectangular peg here, and then go in and tab that in. So this side's, there's two sets of tabs. One is for 1 foot that's lower than the other, so they're both molded like the same, but this one you're going to use the top slot, and the other one you're going to use the bottom slot. So same thing on this side. Where's that? Oh, there we go. There we go. Get this one in. Now that I think about it, maybe I have this wrong. Yeah, now that I think about it, I think this should go on this side, because then you can have some... Well, I guess it doesn't really matter all that much, because this articulation is going to be not that meaningful. But let's do it this way, just in case. Because there's one piece of articulation that you may reuse. Actually, it doesn't end up mattering, because you can't really use it. So, that was a waste of 10 seconds of everyone's lives, but I'm just going to keep it in, because no one's perfect. And I don't feel like cutting this out, even though it only takes 5 seconds. So, let's continue on. Same thing, slot this in. And again, on this side, you're going to use the lower slot. And that's the legs. Let's go with the thighs. So let's start here. These are easy. You just plug the ports right in. There we go. One thing I will say is that on the thighs, there are a couple options you have here. I'll explain this a little bit more, but I like using this second set of thigh slots. There's actually 4. There's one at the top here. That's the one they say in the official manual, but I think it just gets in the way of the hip skirts a lot with these knee things. You could use the one right above the knee, which is in here, which doesn't really look like it's designated for that, but you can use it. And the one for his robot mode, which is all the way down at the bottom. I would recommend this one. Like that. All right. So here's his lower body all done. So there's this part here, which is kind of like the Megatron chest. What that does is combine with Alcade's kind of core piece, and you plug this into the butt here. and that's all it does. Alright, before we get to the upper body, let's actually combine the upper body. So you have the Tarn. He goes in kind of upside down as a cube. What you need to do is pull this down like so. You do want to actually open up his treads just a little bit, because these pegs are going to peg in onto the inside here. I actually find it a little bit easier to get one in and then close it up and then peg the other one in, just because you're kind of doing a blind peg. Yeah, make sure that's all slotted in, and then you're going to want to fold this piece back up like so. This combiner, the chest plate just tabs straight on. There's 2 hefty tabs there. The guns, which came into 2 parts, they just fold up. Well, actually 3 parts. One stores back here. You just peg that in. This one goes on this side. This one goes on the other side. And then you can angle them how you like. Alright, so we'll throw this on. Oh, a couple more pieces. So these extra pieces, one was Tesserus's head. They're kind of matched. They're slightly different, but mostly the same. And they're on the back, so the color difference isn't going to really make any kind of difference in your life. This one does have to go on this side, though, because it has a little tab and slot combination. So you want to push this in here. This one doesn't have that. It just has a hole. Just make sure the combiner port section is facing down. All right, let's scooch this up. And this just comes right down on top. Sorry, I can't see very well. There we go. Like so. Dealing with the arms, each of the arms. So the right shoulder is actually Tesserus's left arm. You're just gonna peg that on here. And throw that on there. So this stuff is all easy. And then lastly, you have his weapons. Kaon, which becomes his double blaster. We'll just peg in using this tab or this one and this one here. Either arm works. And then you use this fat tab to get into either of the hands. Like so. So here we have, I don't even know what his name is. They just call this giant mode, but the Spirit of D.E.C or the DJD combiner from Iron Factory in the giant mode or combined mode. And he looks pretty awesome. At first I was like, all the colors kind of clash. I was kind of with people on that. But having him in hand, he looks really quite nice. There are a couple things that I would do away with. So they really wanted to make sure that you got every part of these figures into the combined mode. So there's stuff like the middle part of Tarn's gun that connects these two. They have that ported in here. They have the main kind of like, I guess like chest frame and head of their helix or helix, as well as this combiner part that was really just used for statue mode. They have this and they plug it into the butt. I would get rid of this. You could also, if you want, get rid of the arms on here. You can just untab them. These like robotic grappler arms or whatever from Tesserus. But I like to keep them just because they look kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie. To be able to have like a Goro set of 4 arms going on. But yeah, I think it looks pretty good. So he looks kind of funky because I did put the shoulders in the correct orientation or official orientation, but you can move them down. They even have photos of it. You can just move these however you'd like. It kind of interferes with him, so that's why they probably tell you to do that. But you can kind of get away with it. So whatever you want to do, you can do. I actually think you can even take these off. So I think it looks better without these. So if you wanted, you can just remove these altogether and not have them be an eyesore. So if you don't really like the whole parts forming or getting rid of certain pieces, then you can do without those, or you can keep them on. The only other piece I would say that you might want to get rid of is this. The arm piece, it just kind of slides on and off. It just kind of looks goofy to have this on here. So if you just want to move these, remove these at the bicep, they just slide right off. Like so. And you have kind of a small gap there. If that bothers you, you can even get rid of this whole thing. But then that makes it look a little bit too thin for me. So anyway, you have options. I'm going to leave mine like this. I would leave mine like this if I were to do combined mode. But yeah. So this is how I'm going to leave this one. I'll show you some articulation. He does have a ball jointed head. His mask, as we've seen before, does come off, and he has kind of like almost like a windblade type face, and he has like the Megatron sunflower head. Somebody had to refer that to me. His chest pieces do get out of the way if you want to articulate them, so the arms can move. The arms are on a friction going around, and then the shoulders can come out like this, but there's also the friction joint up here if you want to use that. That's ratchet, sorry, not friction. But that one I don't think you should use as much unless you really need to. He does have a bicep swivel, 90-degree. Well, so I kind of want to explain this. So he has a 90-degree elbow, or a little bit more than that. But then he also has that weird combiner port joint that can move out of the way. So like, remember how it came out and hid? So you can kind of use that to get a little bit more if you want. But his fists are on a swivel. He does have individually articulated fingers, I guess 4 fingers, and the 5th being the thumb. They have ball joints. Here, let's zoom in real quick. So he has ball joints at the base of each of those fingers. And then for the thumb, he has 2 points of articulation. And then with each of the fingers, he has one point of articulation in addition to the ball joint. Alright, so he does have a waist swivel just like Tesserus. And just like Tesserus, he does have that ab crunch. It is friction after a certain point, but you can see there's kind of teeth here. So when you do a little bit of it, it does kind of softly fake ratchet there, which is nice. He does have the same hip skirts as Tesserus, same hips. So he gets the same amount of range, essentially, almost 90 degrees going forward and back. His hip skirt really does get, the side hip skirt is what gets in the way of him raising the leg too much. He does have a thigh swivel. These little pieces come in and out. Continuing with articulation, he has a 90 degree, almost 90 degree or 90 degree knee bend just at the lower joint, but the combiner port itself is also on a separate hinge. So you can actually make use of both to get quite a bit of bend here. It's quite a lot. So you can do that. The knee pieces can kind of move however you'd like. They can have them pointed out more or flatter. Again, just whatever you want to do here. With the ankles, he does have a bit of an ankle tilt here. He does have a little bit of forward and a little, not really up, I would say. So he has a little bit of down, not that much up, more like flat, but he gets something, which is honestly better than I was expecting. He doesn't have any like toe or heel articulation. He does have these guns though that it can move around. But he's quite stable. He's also quite heavy. Do I have a scale with me? So he's 1 pound 6 ounces, all combined up. Let's see, in comparison to, say, MP 44, he is about 15 ounces, so quite a bit heavier, and almost head to head, which would be kind of a cool battle scene, I suppose. I will bring out their other combiner, their Bruticus. He is 15.5 ounces, so again, quite a bit heavier. I guess I should say the shockwave gun is here too, not the actual Iron Factory shockwave. They scale pretty well together. He is a little bit taller, I would say. And he is obviously a lot heavier. He feels a lot more substantial than this guy here. All right, so that's really it. There's no really other transformation to really get into. Obviously, you would just separate him back up. But he looks really nice. I like it a lot more now that I have it in combined mode than I was expecting. But to be honest, I'm going to keep my guys probably in their separate modes. But again, a really cool idea to get these guys as a combiner, and it worked out. Like, to even think that, hey, this Tesserus set of arms really looks like the treads from Tarn, and being able to like engineer all this to kind of work together with only a couple of parts that you can really get rid of if you wanted. I think it was a pretty fun idea. So good on Iron Factory. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Do you think it's cool? Do you think it's kind of goofy? Is it something you're going to do with your DJD crew, or are you going to keep them separate just like me? But yeah, that's it for today, everyone. Hope you have a good one.